Okay, let's start off real quick. If you can give us just a brief intro of who you are, what your business is.
Hey, I'm John Glaser. I run John Glaser Photography Studios in Houston, Texas. We are a dog and family and senior photography studio, and we do volume work. And so we do a lot of business, a lot of sessions throughout the year and everything. And we've had a successful studio here in Houston for the last 4 years.
So as far as booking sessions goes, how are you capturing the contact info of your leads when you're generating them? And how are you automating that process to start contacting them?
So the way we get most of our leads and generate most of our clients is through Facebook ads and through like meta marketing, so Facebook and Instagram. So we average, I was just looking while we were getting ready I average about 300 leads a week that we get from marketing. And from that process, I've done a bunch of different things over the years and since I started working with Skipio, but what I've found that makes it a little bit easier and a little less cost, it's more cost effective because I don't have to rely so much on Zapier, is every week on Monday I take all the leads from the previous week and I start them in the workflows that I have set up in Skipio, and then they start going through those workflows and eventually become clients, or they eventually fall off, and then we follow up with them in emails, or we have a 30-day campaign where 30 days after we first initially walk them through things, we walk them through a secondary campaign, just like, hey, are you still interested in a session type of thing. So that's kind of the real basic rundown of how we do things on a weekly basis.
So you mentioned like Facebook meta ads. What other tools are you using in that automated process? Like sometimes Zapier, spreadsheets.
Yeah.
What are the tools that come into play before someone gets into Skipio?
Yeah, so with Facebook we use lead ads, and so lead ads have a lead form within Meta itself, and so you can go in every week and download those lead forms, but it's kind of a pain in the rear to do. So I have it all set up where it zaps from the lead. Like when we get new leads, it zaps into a Google spreadsheet on Google Drive. And I've learned over the years, I used to have a different spreadsheet for every different kind of campaign we do, but I learned that the best way is to do one spreadsheet and tabs for each one of the campaigns. So I'm just staying in one thing. So I do that and they all go into that one spreadsheet, but it's based off of like whatever ad I'm running, like whether it be a dog campaign, a family campaign, a senior campaign, or whatever it might be doing. Those go into those particular spreadsheets, and then that's how I capture the data through Zapier. I'm also using Zapier for some other like incidental things, like if we get a person that fills out their contact form on our website, we actually have it zaps it to Skipio automatically if they come straight through our website, like an organic lead or whatever. And then we start them in a texting automation, like I think it's 5 minutes after they fill out that form, so that we're right in contact with them as soon as they fill out that form and can start a dialogue with what they're wanting to do with their with us.
And do you have it can be a difficult question, but what's your estimate for how much time that you save kind of week to week by getting those leads into Skipio campaigns automatically?
Hours and hours and hours. So I mean, I have a pretty constant typical workflow that I do is every Monday morning, my first thing that I do around 9 o'clock-ish or so, excuse me, depending on the week and how busy things are. Sometimes it ends up stretching to 10 or something. But I go in and I usually run 3 or 4 campaigns that are going on at any given time. And the way I have everything set up, I can generally get all my leads downloaded, uploaded to Skipio, uploaded to my email service, and get them started in the automations for both of those things. If it's 3 or 4 campaigns, maybe in 30 minutes, and get them started on that whole thing. It's really simple. I download the Excel spreadsheet. I do a couple of little checks on it and everything. I upload it to Skipio, and Skipio does the rest. And then, it depends on what I have it set up for. Some are 5 minutes after they get uploaded, some are 45. I stagger things so that like it's not all like I don't have 300 leads going out at one time. I stagger it over like an hour or two. I start getting responses to those text messages pretty quickly.
So what advice do you have then for business owners, whether there may be another photographer or someone in a totally different field, but if someone's looking for a way to automate, especially parts of their lead outreach and that kind of communication, what advice do you have for them for starting that process?
So I mean, I've done it before I found Skipio and before I started working with Skipio. I did everything with Zapier 100%, and I had to go hire somebody and spend hundreds of dollars for somebody to write this complicated Zapier thing so that it would start messaging people and take them out of campaigns if they booked a session and all that kind of stuff. It was very, very complex. And for me to duplicate it, it would take me a few hours for me to just get a new campaign going because, and then I would be like, did I do this right? Because did I set up something wrong? Because it was very, very complicated. And I would always have to keep that service on retainer and pay them to like, hey, can you go double check my work and make sure it works? And it was very complicated. It slowed my business down drastically, and there was more opportunity for error. When I moved to Skipio, I like drip campaigns were like, oh my gosh, how easy is this? And it does it all for me. Like, I mean, I literally was just like, set up a drip campaign. If I'm starting a new campaign, that's a different genre maybe or something, or a different type of ad or something, all I have to do is duplicate that drip campaign and really just change the verbiage. I'm not changing anything else that's going in there. And it takes me maybe 5-10 minutes tops to change all that. When it comes to the zapping and because I have some other things that I do that are pretty complex, but they don't take me a whole lot of time when I integrate it with Skipio. And so it has saved me countless amounts of hours and time and then I'll take it to another step. Um, as a photographer, when I first started, I was using Google Voice to contact clients. And so if I got like 50 leads in on Monday, on Tuesday, I would try and contact all 50 of those leads. And I would do it through phone calls and text messaging and stuff. But then if I didn't get a hold of them, then on Tuesday I had 50, or on Wednesday I had 50 more leads from Tuesday. And so I would contact those 50 leads and then have to remember who I had this complicated spreadsheet that I was like, who did I get a hold of on Monday that I didn't get a hold of on, or whatever. And I was like, it was blowing my mind trying to get like keep this stuff organized, and I was literally losing my mind at some time, and to a point, to be honest, where you just give up. You're like, screw the Monday leads. I'm like, I'm not going to use I'm going to move on. But what I have found with doing the automations, the majority of the people that we get, so our automation goes Monday, Tuesday, they get texts, Wednesday, we take a day off, Thursday, they get a text, Friday, they get a text. The majority of our bookings happen on Thursday and Friday with those follow-up texts. And so it's taught me that just sending a text on Monday and Tuesday aren't how you're going to get your clients. Is sending the text on Monday, sending the text on Tuesday, following up with them again on Thursday, and then doing a final, hey, this is your last chance, follow-up text on Friday. And that's where we like get the majority of our bookings, is on the Friday. They're like, oh crap, I gotta get my booking done today. But if I would have had to try and do that the way I was doing it before, I would not be close to having the success that I'm doing now.
Yeah, I think I mean, the numbers vary, but debatably people say, anywhere between like 8 and 15 touches at what it takes for
Yes.
sometimes
Yeah.
just to get a response, let alone someone like scheduling. So the fact that you've been able to create these automations with Skipio that do all of that while you're shooting, while you're editing, while you're running every other part of your business, like that
Right.
must be a huge weight lifted off.
No, totally. And what's great is because Scipio is not just computer based, but it's actually a phone based thing too. And you have the canned email or the canned text messages and stuff like that, you know, majority of time people are asking the same questions that require the same response. So instead of me typing out the same response 400 times, I can just go and click on the response that's generally the response to that question, and it's already pre-typed out, and I just have to hit the button and whatever. But what's nice, and Jordan saw this when I was in Las Vegas with him, I'd be like walking around at a conference and getting text messages, and I could do it right there from my phone and instantly contact people right away, so that I didn't have to wait until I got back to my computer to make those continue those conversations. The other thing that's really nice too is if there's a follow, which you can't do easily with any other texting, like your regular phone texting or whatever, is on Skipio you can save people that you want to follow up with. You can star them or whatever so that you can go and remember to follow up with them. In the past, it was always they would get lost as they moved down the list. And I was like, hey, when do I have to, I can't remember if who was that person that I need to contact again, but I can star them and say, hey, can you contact me in a week? Or I can schedule right then and there an email or a text and say, hey, in a week, send this text to this person. I can do it right then and there so that I don't have to wait and even worry about it a week from now. But it
Well,
saves me a ton of
yeah.
time and a ton of heartache. And I know I'm following up with these people because I'm able to do it instantaneously instead of going, okay, I've got to set a reminder for Monday to follow back up with this person that said, follow up with me in a week from now. No, I did it on Monday the week before. And I said at 10 o'clock, send them this text,
Yeah, it's not just the like actual physical amount of time it takes you to respond
Yes.
to these or that. Like it's the mental load that you
Yes.
don't have to worry about, or like it's taken care of. That
Well,
like
and that and how in my past, before I started using Skipio, I, I can't tell you, I can't count. I don't have those numbers. There's no way for me to know how many people probably got lost in the shuffle, how many people got lost in the mix because there was no follow up upon the follow up because they would say, hey, can you reach? I'm busy. I'm out of town this week. Can you follow up with me on Monday? Sure, I'll follow up with you on Monday. And then Monday comes around. I'm like, who is that person I was supposed to follow up with? Because I didn't put it in my calendar. I didn't write it down, or I wrote it down and I threw it away or whatever. I can do it right then and there, or I can start it and save it and go back to the conversation and go, oh, that's the person that I need to go and follow up with.
John, I know you're kind of a savant when it comes to Zapier. I know a lot of people are intimidated by that. Skipio has not helped you out probably as much as other businesses, but what advice would you give to somebody who's scared or they feel like it's daunting to start Zapier or to integrate Skipio into their current systems? How would you give them advice to move forward?
Yeah, that's a great question because I have the experience and stuff, but I do know that's the big hang up that a lot of people have with technology. So one thing that I try and tell people all the time, the value of Skipio one is that, it's so simple to use, just in itself, right? And without using Zapier, without using any outside services and stuff, you can integrate things by yourself by doing drip campaigns, by making groups and all those types of things that are already in there and they're just super, super user friendly to get going. But even further, since day one, since I first started working with you guys and started doing stuff and implementing stuff, every time I was stuck on something, I could go to you guys and say, I remember when I first started and I was using more Zapier, I was like, dude, how do I connect this to Zapier? And you guys, through your customer support and through different people within your team, they were always really like they were great at, hey, this is how you do it, this is how you, I've had people from you guys that have stepped on a Zoom call with me and kind of walked me through it when I'm totally stuck and all that stuff. But the customer service side of it, where you guys have helped me even when I'm stuck, has been great. But you can't, like, I feel like you can't make it the barrier, because like you guys don't allow it to be the barrier. You guys are starting to offer, I know you're offering more and more and more services to help any kind of business person, especially photographers who, like, most photographers will tell you, they're like, I'm a photographer, this is not my wheelhouse. Can somebody else help me or do this for me? But they do need somebody that's going to help get them started and get them on the right track. And then when they're stuck, because I've been stuck. I was stuck last week and you guys pulled me out of a jam. And that I can reach out to you guys and then you go, hey, here's how you do that. It's really simple, fix it. And then you send me instructions, or you'll get on a, you know, I've been on Zoom calls or whatever, and people have taken care of that with me and show me how to do it step by step.
It is true though. We want to be so much more than just the way people are scheduling messages, because like, yeah, it's true. Like at the core, Skipio does help you schedule or automate messages, but like ultimately we're going to help you run your business in a more efficient way. We're going to help you get appointments. We're going to help you do something with those leads so they're not getting lost in the shuffle. They're not falling through the cracks, that you can't use that as an excuse for why business isn't going well. That it's like, if you're using the tool right, if you're using our services and our expertise, it's like you're going to get taken care of, and you're going to talk to so many more of the people who will make your business happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, if I had 100 leads and I had to follow up with those leads those 4 or 5 times and try and manage that myself, and let's say I'm just going to throw numbers out, like 3% or 2%. So I got 2 bookings out of that 100 leads. If I were to use Skipio to do the same processes, I would probably, I know my numbers, I'm getting like 7 to 8% of people booking their sessions because of it. Right. And even more on some campaigns, some it's like 10-15%. And I wouldn't get those numbers if I was trying to do it all by hand or trying to do it by my own self. There's no way that's going to happen. So like the cost of paying for anything with it pays for itself, because I'm getting extra bookings that turn into extra clients that I wouldn't have gotten if I didn't use a service like Skipio.